Leviticus chapters 14 and 15. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, This is the law of the leper. In whatsoever day he shall have been cleansed, then shall he be brought to the priest. And the priest shall come forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, the plague of leprosy is removed from the leper. And the priest shall give directions, and they shall take for him that is cleansed 2 clean live birds, and cedar wood, and spun scarlet, and hyssop. And the priest shall give direction, and they shall kill 1 bird over an earthen vessel over running water. And as for the living bird, he shall take it, and the cedar wood, and spun scarlet, and the hyssop, and he shall dip them and the living bird into the blood of the bird that was slain over the running water. And he shall sprinkle 7 times upon him that was cleansed of his leprosy, and he shall be clean. And he shall let go the living bird into the field. And the man that has been cleansed shall wash his garments, and shall shave off all his hair, and shall wash himself in water, and shall be clean. And after that he shall go out into the camp, and shall remain out of his house 7 days. And it shall come to pass on the 7th day, he shall shave off all his hair, his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows, even all his hair shall he shave. And he shall wash his garments, and wash his body with water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take 2 lambs without spot of a year old, and 1 ewe lamb without spot of a year old, and 3 tenths of fine flour for a sacrifice kneaded with oil, and 1 small cup of oil. And the priest that cleanses shall present the man under purification, and these offerings before the Lord, at the door of the tabernacle of witness. And the priest shall take 1 lamb, and offer him for a trespass offering, and the cup of oil, and set them apart for a special offering before the Lord. And they shall kill the lamb in the place where they kill the whole burnt offerings, and the sin offerings in the holy places. For it is a sin offering, as the trespass offering, it belongs to the priest. It is most holy. And the priest shall take of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put on the tip of the right ear of the person under cleansing, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the great toe of his right foot. And the priest shall take the cup of oil, and shall pour it upon his own left hand, and he shall dip with the finger of his right hand into some of the oil that is in his left hand. He shall sprinkle with his finger 7 times before the Lord. And the remaining oil that is in his hand, the priest shall put on the tip of the right ear of him that is under cleansing, and on the thumb of his right hand, on the great toe of his right foot, and the place of the blood of the trespass offering. And the remaining oil that is on the hand of the priest shall put on the head of the cleansed leper, and the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord. And the priest shall sacrifice the sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement for the person under purification, to cleanse him from his sin, and afterwards the priest shall slay the whole burnt offering. And the priest shall offer the whole burnt offering, and the sacrifice upon the altar before the Lord, and the priest shall make atonement for him, and he shall be cleansed. And if he should be poor, and cannot afford so much, he shall take 1 lamb for his transgression for a separate offering, so as to make propitiation for him, and a 10th deal of fine flour mingled with oil for a sacrifice, and 1 cup of oil, and 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, as he can afford. And the one shall be for a sin offering, and the other for a whole burnt offering. And he shall bring them on the 8th day to purify him to the priest, to the door of the tabernacle of witness before the Lord. And the priest shall take the lamb of trespass offering and the cup of oil, and place them on a set offering before the Lord. And he shall slay the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take of the blood of the trespass offering, and put on the tip of the right ear of him that is under purification, and on the thumb of his right hand, on the great toe of his right foot. And the priest shall pour of the oil on his own left hand. And the priest shall sprinkle with the finger of his right hand some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before the Lord. And the priest shall put of the oil that is on his hand on the tip of the right ear of him that is under purification, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the great toe of his right foot, on the place of the blood of the trespass offering. And that which is left of the oil which is on the hand of the priest, he shall put on the head of him that is purged, and the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord. And he shall offer 1 of the turtle doves, or of the young pigeons, as he can afford it, the one for a sin offering, the other for a whole burnt offering, with the meat offering. And the priest shall make an atonement before the Lord for him that is under purification. This is the law for him in whom is the plague of leprosy, and who cannot afford the offerings for his purification. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Whensoever ye shall enter into the land of the Canaanites, which I give you for a possession, and I shall put the plague of leprosy in the houses of the land of your possession, then the owner of the house shall come and report the priest, saying, I have seen as it were a plague in the house. And the priest shall give orders to remove the furniture of the house, before the priest comes in to see the plague. And thus none of the things in the house shall become unclean, and afterwards the priest shall go in to examine the house. And he shall look on the plague, and, behold, if the plague is in the walls of the house, he will see greenish or reddish cavities, and the appearance of them will be beneath the surface of the walls. And the priest shall come out of the house to the door of the house, and the priest shall separate the house 7 days. And the priest shall return on the 7th day and view the house. And behold, if the plague is spread in the walls of the house, then the priest shall give orders, and they shall take away the stones in which the plague is, and shall cast them out of the city into an unclean place. And they shall scrape the house within round about, and shall pour out the dust scraped off outside the city into an unclean place. And they shall take other scraped stones, and put them in the place of the former stones. And they shall take other plaster, and plaster the house. And if the plague shall return again, and break out in the house, after they have taken away the stones, and after the house is scraped, and after it has been plastered, then the priest shall go in and see if the plague is spread in the house. It is a confirmed leprosy in the house. It is unclean. And they shall take down the house, and its timbers, and its stones, and they shall carry out all the mortar without the city into an unclean place. And he that goes into the house at any time during its separation shall be unclean until evening. And he that sleeps in the house shall wash his garments, and be unclean until evening. And he that eats in the house shall wash his garments, and be unclean until evening. And if the priest shall arrive and enter and see, and behold, the plague be not at all spread in the house after the house has been plastered, then the priest shall declare the house clean, because the plague is healed. And he shall take to purify the house 2 clean living birds, and cedar wood, and spun scarlet, and hyssop. And he shall slay 1 bird in an earthen vessel over running water. And he shall take the cedar wood, and the spun scarlet, and the hyssop, and the living bird, and shall dip it into the blood of the bird slain over running water. And with them he shall sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall purify the house with the blood of the bird, and with the running water, and with the living bird, and with the cedar wood, and with the hyssop, and with the spun scarlet. And he shall let the living bird go out of the city into the field, and shall make atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. This is the law concerning every plague of leprosy and scurf, and of the leprosy of a garment, and of a house, and of a sore, and of a clear spot, and of a shining one, and of declaring in what day it is unclean, and in what day it shall be purged. This is the law of leprosy. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and thou shalt say to them, Whatever man shall have an issue out of his body, his issue is unclean. And this is the law of his uncleanness. Whoever has a gonorrhea out of his body, this is his uncleanness in him by reason of the issue, by which his body is affected through the issue. All the days of the issue of his body, by which his body is affected through the issue, there is his uncleanness. Every bed on which he that has the issue shall happen to lie is unclean, and every seat on which he that has the issue may happen to sit shall be unclean. And the man who shall touch his bed shall wash his garments, and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean till evening. And whosoever sits on the seat on which he that has the issue may have sat shall wash his garments, and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And he that touches the skin of him that has the issue shall wash his garments, and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean till evening. And if he that has the issue should spit upon one that is clean, that person shall wash his garments, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until evening. And every ass's saddle, on which the man with the issue shall have mounted, shall be unclean till evening. And every one that touches whatsoever shall have been under him shall be unclean until evening. And he that takes them up shall wash his garments, and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And whomsoever he that has the issue shall touch, if he have not rinsed his hands in water, shall wash his garments, and bathe his body in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And the earthen vessel, which he that has the issue shall happen to touch, shall be broken, and a wooden vessel shall be washed with water, and shall be clean. And if he that has the issue should be cleansed of his issue, then shall he number to himself 7 days for his purification, and he shall wash his garments, and bathe his body in water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take to himself 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and he shall bring them forth before the Lord to the doors of the tabernacle of witness, and shall give them to the priest. And the priest shall offer them, one for a sin offering, and the other for a whole burnt offering, and the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord for his issue. And the man whose seed of copulation shall happen to go forth from him shall then wash his whole body, and shall be unclean until evening. And every garment and every skin on which there shall be the seed of copulation shall both be washed with water, and be unclean until evening. And a woman, if a man shall lie with her with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water, and shall be unclean till evening. And the woman whosoever shall have an issue of blood, when her issue shall be in her body, shall be 7 days in her separation. Every one that touches her shall be unclean until evening. And everything whereon she shall lie in her separation shall be unclean. and whatever she shall sit upon shall be unclean. And whosoever shall touch her bed shall wash his garments, and bathe his body in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And every one that touches any vessel on which she shall sit shall wash his garments, and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And whether it be while she is on her bed, or on a seat which she may happen to sit upon when he touches her, he shall be unclean till evening. And if anyone shall lie with her, and her uncleanness be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and every bed on which he shall have lain shall be unclean. And if a woman have an issue of blood many days, not in the time of her separation, if the blood should also flow after her separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation. She shall be unclean. And every bed on which she shall lie all the days of her flux shall be to her as a bed of her separation. And every seat whereupon she shall sit shall be unclean according to the uncleanness of her separation. Every one that touches it shall be unclean, and he shall wash his garments, and bathe his body in water, and shall be unclean until evening. But if she shall be cleansed from her flux, then she shall number to herself 7 days, and afterwards she shall be esteemed clean. And on the 8th day she shall take 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and shall bring them to the priest, to the door of the tabernacle of witness. And the priest shall offer one for a sin offering, and the other for a whole burnt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for her before the Lord for her unclean flux. And ye shall cause the children of Israel to beware of their uncleanness, so they shall not die for their uncleanness, in polluting my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of the man who has an issue, and if one discharge seed of copulation, so that he should be polluted by it. And this is the law for her that has the issue of blood in her separation, and as to the person who has an issue of seed in his issue, it is law for the male and the female, and for the man who shall have lain with her that is set apart. Psalm 35:36 in Hebrew. For the end, by David, the servant of the Lord. The transgressor, that he may sin, says within himself, that there is no fear of God before his eyes. For he has dealt craftily before him to discover his iniquity and hate it. The words of his mouth are transgression and deceit. He is not inclined to understand how to do good. He devises iniquity on his bed, and gives himself to every evil way, and does not abhor evil. O Lord, thy mercy is in the heaven, and thy truth reaches to the clouds. Thy righteousness is as the mountains of God. Thy judgments are as a great deep, O Lord. Thou wilt preserve men and beasts. How hast thou multiplied thy mercy, O God, so the children of men shall trust in the shelter of thy wings. They shall be fully satisfied with the fatness of thine house, and thou shalt cause them to drink of the full stream of thy delights. For with thee is the fountain of life, in thy light we shall see light. Extend thy mercy to them that know thee, and thy righteousness to the upright in heart. Let not the foot of pride come against me, and let not the hand of sinners move me. There have all the workers of iniquity fallen. They are cast out, and shall not be able to stand. Proverbs chapter 7, verses 13 through 20. Then she caught him, and kissed him, and with an impudent face said to him, I have a peace offering. Today I pay my vows. Therefore I came forth to meet thee, desiring thy face, and I have found thee. I have spread my bed with sheets, and I have covered it with double tapestry from Egypt. I have sprinkled my couch with saffron, and my house with cinnamon. Come, and let us enjoy love until the morning. Come, and let us embrace in love. For my husband is not at home, but is gone on a long journey, having taken in his hand a bundle of money. After many days he will return to his house. The Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew, chapter 24, verses 1 through 28. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows. Then shall I deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight not be in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be a great tribulation, such as one does not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor shall ever be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together.